Hello everyone, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is BSL 20, round of 8, the fourth match between Fischei and NewOcean. Up right in corner we have Fischei starting as the light green Protoss. Bottom right in corner we have NewOcean starting as the yellow Protoss. This is going to be on a larger macro-oriented map, Radion. And I don't know who to call on this one. NewOcean has shown a lot of creative play up to this stage. He's got a lot of strategy, he's got a lot of trickiness to him, which usually plays very, very well for any Protoss. Fischei has been very, very solid. And he's been in the finals before. This could be, he was one of those guys where I'm like, I definitely could, I think I said earlier, I was expecting him in the semifinals. But at the same time, I was expecting to see NewOcean there potentially as well. So I feel like this is going to be potentially the most interesting matchup of the round of 8. I think Ghost of Worst was intending to be another really interesting one. ZVZ, no offense, but it's like, I don't know. Anyway, ZVZ, I always feel like, yeah, it is kind of, you can never call it. It's a knife fight. It's hard. It's rare, although those matches were incredible, I do have to say. I don't want to actually, when I think about it now, as far as the matches I casted, the Tom versus Yui games were intense, very intense, and very exciting overall. Not to say that ZVZ isn't usually, but they were particularly so. I feel like ZVZ tends to be the most exciting. They tend to be shorter, more toward the point. It's like it's a shot of whiskey rather than a fine wine of something else. What would Terran be in that instance? So if Zerg versus Zerg is drinking a shot and PvP is drinking a glass of wine, would TVT be a beer? It'd be like 10 beers, right? Because it can last an extremely long period of time. Drinking several beers. Anyway, 2-gate opener here from NewOcean. This is on a larger map, and Fischei, as long as he scouts it, should be well prepared for it. NewOcean actually going for the double scout, so I think he wants to get a probe in his opponent's base. Is not, interestingly enough, is not checking. Usually when you see this sort of build, you'll see players scout cross map to check for their worst possible scenario. And instead, NewOcean actually sending out 2 workers and checking bottom left, top right to start. Let's see if there's going to be a proxy pylon in the midst of this, or if there's even a manor pylon as well. I would not be shocked, because both, I think Fischei has to be on alert if he saw that probe sneaking its way across. There's also possible that not only are we going to have a 2-gate, we could have possible proxy tech in the midst of it. Fischei is going to scout this last, unfortunately, with his scouting pattern. It could also be that NewOcean just either made a mistake or he wanted a little bit of additional firepower. The 2 probes are drawing back. One of them is headed back to the main. Is this one going to head back to the main as well? 2 additional zealots out, a pylon. The third pylon's been placed in the main, which usually suggests we're not going to see proxy tech. And you can see, yeah, the zealot, Fischei a little bit aware, walking around the corner. We do have a shield battery drop to provide some additional support in the midst of this. Probe sees the additional 2 zealots making their way across the map. Dragoon and Zealot are going to be out, and NewOcean actually holding short right this second before dedicating the rest of this attack. The Dragoon walking its way down, so should get a few additional shots. We're going to see a proxy pylon from Fischei. We do see after 5, the gateway dropped. Dragoon taking a lot of damage, though. I think Fischei a little bit distracted with the probe micro in the main. Now drawing back. Second Dragoon's almost up. And again, focusing, doing a great job of picking out that weakened zealot and forcing NewOcean to micro back a little bit. Shield partially regenerated. And now regenerated again. The Dragoon actually needs, okay, yeah, we're getting some good shield regeneration. Zealot still wiped out, but at least these initial 2 Dragoons have been softened up. We got a third, and actually the probe should be able to defend that pretty well. Nice micro thus far from Fischei. Yeah, just leaving that for the probes to take care of. Yeah, and the probes on the prowl, wiping that out. This Dragoon getting pinned in a little bit, however. So now 3 crossed. Having a little bit of trouble at this stage. 1 Dragoon does go down, so now we've got 3 Zealots free, and this is an opportunity for NewOcean to strike some damage. As 2 Zealots getting into the main, the gas getting disrupted. Second Dragoon out, 3rd Dragoon not that far behind. Another Zealot being queued up, and we have another Zealot making its way across the field from NewOcean. And some probes have been wiped out in the midst of this, but this might have been a potential overdedication. Fischei having trouble microing on 2 fronts, and also delayed mining, so this is working out for NewOcean. Thus far, Fischei initially looked like he was having an easy time defending this, but now having a much harder time, and he's just plummeted as far as the raw worker count. Dropped a lot of workers in the midst of this, is now down 4, and several of them aren't mining. As a side note. Finally able to clean up that last zealot, but really paid off for NewOcean right there. 2 additional zealots making the way on retreat. We did have some gas mining in the midst of that, but NewOcean's opened up a sizable lead. Oof, with that amount of damage, I'll be interested to see what Fischei does as a turnaround. He's going to go ahead and drop the robotics facility, but he's got a lot of work to do. Tapping to get a little bit of a last recharge before making his way out on the map. 4 Dragoons waiting, 2 zealots as well. So on top of everything else, and these guys are heavily damaged, on top of everything else, NewOcean is very likely going to have a faster strike at his own natural. I don't know, I'm trying to think, I think Fischei got the range upgrade, so he is going to have the range upgrade on the Dragoons. So if he just micros perfectly, might end up in a good scenario as far as the follow-up, but right now has a lot of catch-up to do. Just as far as just latent army on the field, yeah, this is kind of a suicide mission for these 4 Dragoons. And this almost is a Dragoon donation, so at least they're going to be able to walk up and scout the scenario, see that there's no natural, or there's nothing on the natural. Robotics getting dropped. I think NewOcean, recognizing he's in a solid position, just try to play safe from here. Oh, is that Dragoon going to die? Barely. Woof. Saw death. The scythe of the Grim Reaper just shaved that guy's beard. That poor Dragoon. Do Dragoons grow beards? Anyway, NewOcean recognizing the paltry size of that attack force is maybe thinking about getting aggressive himself. Observatory up first. Interestingly enough, range just now starting. Interesting rushing the observatory rather than going ahead and dropping the robotics from the deficit position. I'm a little bit surprised by that. The Dragoons moving to the high ground. NewOcean will now be able to occupy the natural expansion and deny that for a bit of time. The observer will provide a little bit of additional support. I think NewOcean walking up, seeing the lack of the natural, going to go ahead and step back and feel fairly confident. Curious if that'll trigger him to go ahead and grab his natural expansion. NewOcean well ahead in supply of both troop and army. And also wisely dropping some preventative pylons to the north, just because the outs here for Fischei. Shuttle drops of some form or another. Going for some risky additional base takes, which clearly the natural expansion has not been grabbed yet. Dragoons are starting to wander out to sea, and a zealot are going ahead and checking out the map. Wisely so, trying to eliminate possibilities here. The observers walked up, at least is able to confirm that there's no 6 o'clock base, is going to go ahead and check out that natural, going to see that it is just queued up. Reaver is in production alongside that shuttle. I am expecting shuttle speed from Fischei. I would be a little bit shocked to see a lack of that in a grab of natural expansion. The observer is going to get picked off. So short for life, so not able to confirm the gateway count, but at least able to confirm with the observatory in the air that there's a robotics up for his opponent. So now it's the decision time for Fischei. Is, you know, you're behind a bit, so what? You got a zealot out there patrolling. What's the play? Right now, continuing to construct Dragoons. Walking out the natural expansion, has his Reaver up. Is he going to move out with the single Reaver and the shuttle? On the opposite end, a third gateway has been dropped. We have no shuttle and no Reaver on the front. We do have a Citadel of Adun being constructed. Maybe to get Dark Templar a little bit more rapidly, or potentially even... Wondering if this cell is going to become a factor. Wondering if it's to get Dark Templar or even +1 weapons out a little bit more rapidly. NewOcean, his army a little bit split, but Fischei's army not in full cohesion. Also, the shuttle caught the Reaver eating a huge volley. Loses the Reaver before it's even able to shoot a Scarab, and I think that's going to be game right there. Fischei attempting to retreat, but he's retreating under fire. And this is just a larger remainder of Dragoons. Fischei still doesn't have his natural. If NewOcean wanted to end it, he could end it right here. Actually, that would have been the most clever place to drop a proxy location, right? They're at the 3 o'clock location. I don't think anyone would ever check that base. Although there's kind of a timer on that one, right? Fischei trying to shell up briefly. NewOcean's troops now engaging. Zealot leg speed finishing. 2 additional gateways being plopped down, by the way, for NewOcean in the midst of this. So if he wasn't thinking about ending it before, he's definitely thinking about ending it. Just going to have Zealots that can rally across the field and complete this. But I'm a little bit shocked that Fischei hasn't GG'd right here. He doesn't have a lot of outs left. NewOcean has total map control. He could... There's a lot of things he could do. Grab additional base, go Dark Templar, go High Templar before this. Reaver now out as well. There is an additional observer. The Zealot's going to go ahead and return back. Yeah, NewOcean, I think he might be scratching his head as well as far as why Fischei's staying in this. Fischei, by the way, 2 gateways versus 5 gateway production right this second. And so he's steadily, so not only is he falling behind as far as the raw army size, that the difference is accelerating. Observer is trying to make its way forward. It looks like it is going to be able to get past the breach and should be able to confirm the raw gateway count. And upon seeing this, upon seeing the Templar archives and seeing the huge saturation, yeah, it's looking real bad right this second. And that observer is going to get picked off as well. Good Eyes catching the shimmer in the midst of everything. So Zealot leg speed complete. Natural expansion almost online for Fischei. He's down 10 workers. He is getting shuttle speed, and he does have a Reaver and a shuttle out. Whereas NewOcean has opted, despite having his robotics, has delayed a support bay for quite a period of time. Has just got Observer in the midst of this. Little probe dance freak out. Always interesting when they decide to do that. Triple Forge dropped, by the way, from NewOcean. So he's going the maximum upgrade path here, which he can with the strength of economy he's got. I'm wondering if this is just a, hey, let's try this out at this stage for him. Templar Archives also up to get Sidestorm sooner rather than later. And moving his Observer to go ahead and check out the situation. It's going to see a Reaver, the natural expansion, and the second gas. Speed Shuttle is making its way across. We already have 3 Dragoons at the near side position to help disrupt this. Fischei has to drop regardless. Does manage to land. Looks like it is going to be a dud. Second shot. Second shot. Does manage to catch 2 workers, but it's not going to be sufficient. An Observer watching Fischei to see if he's going to grab a third. In the meantime, NewOcean going ahead after that shuttle kill, grabbing his own base. And we're still sitting on 3 gateways. Fischei dropping a proxy pylon bottom left. I think he's thinking about trying to sneak an additional expansion. Third gas is getting grabbed for NewOcean. However, with map control, he's just got to pray that that doesn't get spotted. And I would be a little bit shocked if NewOcean, once that +1 across the board doesn't land, still sits back or doesn't keep monitoring the rest of the map. He's been pretty diligent about that thus far. Looks like it's just a pylon drop though. The probe scouting things out. Maybe he's looking for the counter spot right this second to see if he can sneak something out across the field. Shuttle back out, by the way, and another Observer making its way is going to see a lack of a third at the 3 o'clock location. Pylon now getting wiped out. Keep his opponent in the dark. NewOcean still, I think he's just playing it because it's a tournament situation, playing it very, very cautiously. All sorts of High Templar out in the field. Fischei now going to spot the 6 o'clock base. Might lose his Observer to cannons in the midst of this, which is not something you could afford to do. Does have this latent probe out here. But the thing is if he grabs, and he's sending out another shuttle with another Reaver and Dragoon. Issue is if he tries to grab the third, he likely will not have enough troops. I don't know that he's going to have enough troops anyway to try to defend and attack here. +1 everything. Half second from completing. Another shuttle making its way out. There's 5 cannons in a nice kind of spider configuration as well, or star configuration, I should say. I'm going to coin this and call this the star configuration. I don't know that it has any benefit compared to anything else. And NewOcean can afford to continue to dedicate troops to a lot of these locations. Shuttle making its way back up, does manage to get a land. Shuttle dies with the Reaver inside. And the opportunities, yeah, just falling apart here for Fischei. Probe no longer top left. Where's the probe? It's sitting bottom left. NewOcean still not made any movements towards the front. Is just making sure there's no third. Fischei starting to move out himself. But he's down on upgrades. Triple upgrades continuing here for NewOcean. A probe wandering out is going to be greeted by the warm embrace of some psionic blades. That's it. Yeah, psi blades. Want to make sure I say it properly. Professional commentator. NewOcean, upon seeing that kind of limping additional base, is going to go ahead and grab a base of his own. 174 supply. I wonder if he's going to wait for the 200. Somewhere around there, +2. Everything should finish. And he's already got near max Psystorm and a lot of the High Templar that were already fielded. There was no Scarab damage upgrade to support the Reaver advantage here for Fischei. Fischei dedicating NewOcean dedicating a handful of troops bottom left. Go ahead and clear that out. Fischei trying to spread out. I will say this is if NewOcean opted to engage along that pathway, if the High Templar repivot and the Reavers get some splash damage, it's not a great engagement location. But I'm expecting NewOcean, when he comes, to just go from center. 2 High Templar, 2 Zealots, gonna go for some storm drops. We've got more of a linear configuration of cannons. Double pillar, I'm gonna coin that one as well. Nothing to drop, however, and that shuttle's been spotted. I take it back. NewOcean's going to go for the bridge line. And if Fischei cycles the troops across, this is maybe a killing field. I don't think it's a 70 supply killing field, I want to say, but it is more defensible than other locations. So Psystorm dropping both directions. The High Templar are having trouble getting in. Now they're able to drop Psystorms across that bridge line. But the Reaver, if it can walk up, yeah, you can see the Psystorm just really plummeting that attack force, so getting better trades than normal. Although NewOcean has managed to fan some of those troops out. Reaver's still standing from the rear location, but it looks like Fischei might barely defend this with reinforcements. Loses a handful of workers in the midst of this, but yeah, because of that engagement point, NewOcean bleeding out a good portion of his army in this assault. Not a good entry point. Still a massive supply differential. A lot of Psystorm was expended. It looks like we have 2 storms left, and it is still 4 bases versus 3. And this one is just now getting online. Things are much more defensible for NewOcean. I'm a little bit shocked, honestly, knowing how strategic he is, that he opted to shoot this gap. Granted, he did have +2 weapons, +2 armor, +2 shields, but even so, giving opportunities for Fischei to cycle back into it. Fischei dropping is going to catch a handful of probes right there. I got a good amount of probes. Is still behind in the overall worker count. Loses the shuttle. High Templar trying to cower in the corner underneath the rotating fan. I'm not... As a side note, what is this? A solar-powered rotating fan. Why do we need that? Is there like a generator underneath or something like that? Is this planet? Anyway. Seems really odd, where it's like, we're just gonna make a spinny thing that's solar-powered out there. It'll be fun. Maybe it's a turbine, who knows? Now Fischei facing another assault across the bridge line, but has all of his troops out of position and fewer troops to defend. This time NewOcean able to get deeper across the line, still eating some pretty hefty Psystorms. So the initial Dragoons are going to end up losing their lives. But some Zealots have managed to mix it up across Fischei's third base. And it looks like the Reavers are going to get wiped out. That should be GG. As the main is mined out, the natural expansion is not that... Well, actually, it's got some resources. But yeah, that's GG from Fischei. Game 1 goes to NewOcean with a very successful 2-gate play. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.